Hi, welcome to Catch the Vision. I'm Wendy, and today's conversation is one many people need, but few ever get to hear it in this way. This is not a story about a single breaking point. It's about a slow, internal shift, one that begins long before you have the words for it, before clarity, before certainty. My guest today is Dr. Tana Phelps Jackson, author of Finding My Peace in the Storm. For a long time, from the outside, life looked stable, but internally, Dr. Phelps was navigating endurance, faith, health challenges, and a storm that most people never saw. In today's conversation, we're talking about what it means to survive quietly, what happens when surviving is no longer enough, and how peace can be chosen, even when the storm hasn't ended yet. If you've ever been strong for a long time, if you've ever trusted God without knowing how things would turn out, this conversation is for you. So let's catch the vision. So Dr. Phelps, let's talk just a little bit about the story, how the story actually began. So when you look back, what was the first sign that your life was starting to shift even before you had words for it?
Thank you for having me, Wendy.
You're so welcome.
I would say the first sign was right after returning from our honeymoon, and we were at home. I had just come home from work, actually, and the mail was open. My mail, the house mail, his mail. And that wasn't how I was raised, because if my name's on it,
Right.
I open it.
Right.
If your name's on it, you open it. If both our names on it, we both open it.
Right, right.
My mail was open, and I mentioned, this isn't supposed to happen.
So this was immediately after the honeymoon.
Yes.
Like just coming home from the honeymoon, and it starts.
It starts.
Okay.
So I mentioned I didn't like it. That wasn't how I was raised in my household. I told him the rules that were in my household
Right.
when I grew up, and I thought that was the way it should be. He immediately stopped talking to me for weeks.
So instead of you not having words for it, he had no words for it.
He had no
basically.
words. And
Okay.
then I had no words for why this behavior,
Right.
because we never lived together before getting married. It was just
It was all brand new.
brand new.
So from the outside, things looked stable for a long time. What was really happening internally during that season? So if I were looking in and I thought that everything was all good, what was really taking place internally?
Internally in the home?
So
Or
tell me, yes, I'm curious to know internally in the home as well as you. So as you were sharing with us how you felt internally when this began to happen, as well as what was going on internally in the home.
Okay, so internally in the home, there was either silent treatments from him, and then that would lead me to start wondering what's going on, what's happening. When I would even try to have a conversation or ask, I was ignored.
Oh.
He'd wake up in the morning, get ready for work, ignore. No conversation, no discussion. Come home from work, same thing. So internally for me, I just could not understand, what is this behavior?
So did you at any point begin to search yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Because then the thing is, well, what's wrong with me?
Correct.
What did I do to
Correct.
cause this behavior? And then when I would try to engage conversation, I still would get shut down. Then eventually, after 3 weeks, this is at the beginning, after 3 weeks of not speaking, not communicating with me, it was like a whole new day.
Okay.
And like nothing even happened before.
Okay, so let me just say this, because we talked about this being a conversation that needs to take place.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say worldwide? This needs to take place, just worldwide. So we talked about there being a shift, that there started out being a shift, and you basically had no words for it. Mm-hmm. So for me, this instantly occurred immediately after the honeymoon. When you guys got back from the honeymoon, this is when this all began. And so as you guys were dating, courting, were there any signs? Can you just briefly just kind of take me there a little bit, if there were signs before you guys actually got married?
Yes, and I have to take accountability for the fact that I saw red flags.
Gotcha.
And I saw
Gotcha.
signs.
Gotcha.
But based on who I thought he was,
yes,
and the potential that I thought he had.
Potential is a monster.
Yes, you don't deal with a person based on the potential.
Yes,
it's the reality you have to deal with.
Yes.
But the first one was the same day I met him.
Mm-hmm.
That evening, he told me he was from Alabama. Now, I had already made up in my mind, I'm not dealing with anybody from Pittsburgh anymore, because I had dealt with Pittsburgh men,
mm-hmm.
and it just
didn't work out.
Brick walls.
Yeah.
So eventually I found out you're from Pittsburgh.
Oh, so I guess I'm thinking Alabama, Alabama,
the state.
Yeah, that's.
And
what
I
I'm
knew his family. And then when I questioned, well, you said you're from Alabama, but you're actually from Pennsylvania, from Pittsburgh. Well, my family's from Alabama. And that wasn't a question.
Yeah.
So that was a red flag right from the very
beginning. Yeah.
Start.
So even with all of that, what kept you moving forward during moments when you didn't have clarity, just only endurance? What really kept you going?
My faith. And that was the whole thing that kept me going throughout the
silent treatments,
everything.
It was
my faith, because I kept saying, I'm supposed to be here. God wants me to be here for a reason. This is all going to work out. I took a vow in church to love, honor, obey. And I remember when the pastor said obey, and looking back at the video that my friend took, my friends were like, obey.
Yeah.
I could see them.
Right.
But I did take that vow. So for me, my faith was most important to keep me going through all of this.
So before we dive into the book, you stated that it was, of course, the vow you had taken, but you felt like it was, I want to say that you said this was God. You felt like this was something that you were supposed to be doing, something that you were supposed to be in. So with that being said, you could not give up. So you had to keep going. And I want to touch on that real quickly, because I have heard people say that this person is my assignment. This is where I'm supposed to be. So what was it that made you realize that this is where I'm supposed to be? Even in the turmoil, what is it that made you feel like this is where I'm supposed to be?
I continued, and I thought, this is where I'm supposed to be. I had role models. My parents had been married for 53 years.
Get it, yeah.
Up until my mother died.
Yeah.
And so that was what I saw.
All you saw was togetherness, union.
Togetherness.
Yes.
Even through everything.
Yes.
You stay.
Totally.
And so that was my belief, the faith, and the role model of my parents.
Okay. Well, as we dive into your book, Finding My Peace in the Storm. So your book talks about surviving a storm most people have never seen. What was the hardest part of carrying that quietly? Like you going through the storm, what was the hardest part about you carrying that? And I'm going to say, before you probably felt like you could share it with somebody, what was the hardest part about carrying that? Because I'm sure it was like a ton of bricks that you were carrying. So what was the hardest part about that?
I would say the hardest part was knowing that we were still existing with that silent treatment, the arguments that were out of nowhere.
Right.
And just trying to do everything just right.
Right.
You know, to cook, make the dishes that you like, to bake the things you like.
Doing all that in silence?
In silence. And hoping maybe this is going to make a difference.
You know what? I can concur. That probably would be hard to carry. Because it's kind of like we're playing house, basically.
Exactly. And at the end, we're roommates, basically. Yeah. Just, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a moment in your story where surviving wasn't enough anymore. What led you to that realization?
At that point, I knew he did not love me. And so was it a deal breaker.
So tell me more about that. What was it that you said, I knew that he didn't love me anymore? That was a realization for you. So what was it? What was an indication that he no longer loved you?
Okay, I briefly noted on the back of my book. It was my birthday coming up, and we had planned, what do you want to do for your birthday? I was asked. We both love to travel.
Yeah.
And I said I wanted to go back to Hawaii for my birthday for a couple of weeks. Fine. So to preface this, during COVID, I was very careful.
Yes.
I wore the mask. Yes. I did everything safe and safety.
Yeah.
Not so much for him. And so I said, just before it was time to go, I said, I don't feel comfortable going, because this was 21 at Christmas in 2021.
So there was a period where COVID was rampant. There was a period where it kind of was dormant, and then it ramped back up.
And we were going to go January of 2022, yes. And I said, I don't feel comfortable. And he's like, oh, it's going to be okay. It'll be fine. I said, I don't feel comfortable.
Right.
And then he said, I'm going.
For your birthday, he's going without the birthday girl.
Yes.
So that was a pivotal point for you. That was when the light bulb went off and you were basically like, okay, you know what? God, I was here initially for a purpose. However, now I have come to the realization that this is not love.
It's not, and I'm done. I've done all I can do. I've just been here for him.
Correct.
There were so many times where I felt like he should have been there for me.
Yes.
Like, I dealt with a lot of grief along the way. I lost my pet.
Yeah.
Lost my mother the next year. Lost a great aunt. My godmother. I mean, I had to do things for all of these losses. And he was never there for me.
Even though you had a partner, you didn't have a partner.
Exactly. I was there in it by myself.
Yeah.
And it was just a bit much to carry alone.
Right. Oh, I definitely would agree. So how did you know it was time for you to choose peace? I guess that kind of goes back to what you were just saying, the realization that, okay, he no longer loves me. So that was the time that you decided to choose peace, even when that choice felt uncomfortable and costly, because when you decide to choose peace, with that choosing, things come along with it. Possibly, you uprooting from one address to another address. So, of course, cost is going to come along with that. But even before that, if I feel like this is where I'm no longer supposed to be, or if I've had enough, then we got to part ways, which means an attorney, court fees, and all that. So even in that thought process, knowing that, okay, I'm choosing me, but I know there's going to be, cost, heartache. what was that thought process like for you? Did you at some point say, maybe I should stay? Or were you so over it and so into choosing yourself that you were ready to just deal with whatever you needed to do to choose you?
I had to start choosing myself for so long.
Yeah.
It was always about his wants.
Yeah.
And I just went along with it.
Yeah. Just to keep peace, you just went along with it.
Just to keep the peace.
Yeah.
And that's what it was all about.
Right.
I didn't want things to happen. So at that point, when I realized I needed to move forward, I just continued to think, even though I've read the Bible, and there are things in the Bible where you stay in a marriage with your husband.
Certain
your
stipulations
wife.
that you are supposed to divorce. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then I thought, I'm here. Yeah. I'm in those situations.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm dealing with someone who, I don't know if he's physically involved with this person.
Right.
But this person was.
So with that being said, there kind of was maybe an inkling that there was some infidelity.
Exactly.
Okay.
And even though it may not have been physical, but I don't believe that's the case.
Right.
But emotionally,
there was.
He was checked out from me. Yeah. I was checked out from him.
Yeah.
And so that was where I am not happy. We are not happy. His words were, well, this isn't fun.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know anybody who says marriage is fun.
Right.
Marriage is work. I've heard that.
Absolutely.
And you get through it because you can communicate with your spouse, your loved one, your significant other. But when I'm not feeling loved, cared for, supported, I knew I stayed too long.
Yeah. That's, you know what, this is like a whole buffet, this is a lot. Like,
it really
is. So you talk about your faith a lot, and I truly do know that you had to have been standing on faith. You had to be standing on something other than your 2 feet dealing with this situation. And so with that being said, I do know that you had some health challenges. So during your health challenges, what did faith look like in real life? I know we know what the theory is, but what did faith truly look like for you going through the turmoil in your marriage and then having the health challenges? So what did faith look like for you, like on daily decisions?
Okay, so initially, the health issues were that I was not able to sleep. I was under a lot of stress, not just at the home, in my job, in my career.
Yeah.
And so that was stress.
So you had stress at home, stress at work. Okay.
And as a result, I was having health problems. I wasn't able to sleep through the night. Then I was on medication for that.
Yeah.
I was having gastro problems. Didn't know where they were coming from. Do an endoscopy, do a colonoscopy.
Honey, listen, I don't have to have a PhD to know that it was the stress.
Exactly.
It was the stress.
So those things were going on. And then eventually I had gone to my doctor, my primary care doctor, who was trying to treat me for these situations, health issues. And I went in there one day for an appointment and I just broke down.
Yeah.
So I was to the point I was depressed.
Yes.
And she had to write me off work. I went off on FLMA.
Oh, my.
And no support throughout all of that. And all I could do was say, God, help me. And in the midst of all of that, I was caring for my older brother who was mentally challenged because he had schizophrenia. So I was helping with his health care decisions. And so things going on with him, in my household, with my husband, at my job, there was no peace.
Right. No peace. And as I said, I know that it had to be something other than your willpower, you had to be standing on something.
God.
Yes.
It was
had to
God.
be God. Yeah.
And so I had to keep relying on him to get me through,
Right,
because it was very difficult.
Oh, I listen. I'm ready to walk out now. Just talking to you. I didn't even live it, and I'm ready to walk out now. So was there a moment when you had to trust God without knowing how things would turn out?
I did trust God when I prayed.
I was going to ask you, what did that require of you?
I prayed.
Just saying, okay, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to get past this point, but okay, God, I'm trusting in you, and I don't know what that looks like right now, but
I did, because I had gotten to the point where a couple of incidents that had happened. Mm-hmm. This was around Christmas time of 22, and it was obvious this marriage was irretrievably broken.
Yeah.
And I knew it, he knew it, but it was almost like nobody's saying anything, but one of us is waiting to see who's going to make a move.
Right.
But nothing said.
Yeah.
And so I prayed to God to please lead me. I feel like I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Help me. Right. If this is something I'm supposed to do, you'll help me and get me out of this.
Yeah.
And the very next day, I went and looked for an apartment, and I found it. And it was going to be available when I needed it to be.
Yeah. So
I couldn't
just began to unfold. And so again, you relying on God, not knowing what was going to happen, you just begin to see things working in your favor.
I had to do it. And it started working out in my favor. It absolutely did, because initially I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I just started planning from the end of December until my birthday in January. This was the very next year after the initial birthday debacle.
Yeah.
And I planned a birthday trip on my own to Hawaii with one of my best girlfriends that lived in the same city with me. Yeah. But it was just for a weekend, because during this time, I was in a PhD program.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. You had a lot going on.
So there was no way I could say, let's go and just chill for a week or 2 weeks on the beach. I couldn't do it because I had schoolwork.
Right. Yeah.
But I had to do it.
You had to do it. So what would you say to someone listening right now, Dr. Phelps, who has faith but feels overwhelmed by uncertainty? Because that was you at a point. You had the faith. You, first off, totally overwhelmed because you had your own issues going on at home. You were helping your brother who mentally challenged. You were helping him. And so how would you speak to someone who is listening, who is dealing, I guess, with a similar situation?
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say it sounds simple, but praying and finding your inner peace with God and trusting, even though it looks like nothing is good is going to come out of this. Nothing can happen from this. If I try to leave, this is not going to be good for me. But let me tell you, if you stay, it's not going to get any better. And setting up a plan. After you talk to God, set the plan and move forward. And then as it gets closer to
the time for you
D-Day.
D-Day,
Then maybe start sharing it with people, a supportive village. Not the ones that are going to be in your ear saying, oh, you shouldn't do that. This, you know, you're married. It'll be all right. Y'all got 2 homes. You know, he's at 1, you can be at... No, it's not like that.
You need to have good people in your corner who truly cares about you.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So what did endurance teach you during... what did endurance teach you that success never could?
Endurance. You got to have it
You listen
to be successful.
You have to have it to be successful. In your situation, I would, and you were successful because you were able to walk away and find peace, even in the midst of your storm.
Right.
So you endured a lot, it sounds like, and you were, again, successful. So was there something that you learned along the way that that success could never have taught you? Like for instance, let me just say this. Sometimes we, in situations, we really know who we are and how strong we are. And so speak just a little bit about that, because with me, that and endurance kind of goes hand in hand. So did you really know that you had the strength to walk away?
Yes, I knew I had the strength because I had planned to walk away before.
Yeah.
I had set a plan in 2007.
So you had a plan before and didn't execute?
I did not execute because I told him about it.
Oh, so this is why you say in the latter part, just make moves. So what I typically say, silent moves, loud results.
Exactly. And that's what happened because the first time I did, you know, make my plan, had an apartment, bought furniture, had a date.
And you told him.
I told him because it was like I'd gone on a vacation with some friends and I got back to the States and I said, well, I have something to tell you. Well, I have something to tell you too.
Oh, okay. We both got a story to share. So
I said, you go first.
Yeah.
And his was, looking at a place in Arizona to retire to, and, you know, maybe things, you know, will get better, blah, blah, blah. And what's yours? I'm leaving.
So let me ask you this. So after hearing what he had said, did it deter you a little bit? Did it make you reconsider, like, maybe he's right. Maybe this can work out. Maybe, you know, change of scenery, you know,
it
maybe.
Did for a minute. And then he said the magic words, I'll go to counseling.
Okay. So how magical are those words, Dr. T? How magical?
They were magical because I had been pressing
to
all throughout the marriage.
Yeah.
Let's go to counseling.
Yeah.
We need to talk to somebody to get this straight.
Right.
So when he said,
I'll go to counseling.
Said, okay.
Yeah.
And so then I lost the money on the apartment.
Okay.
I changed, you know, everything. I switched up and I stayed. So 2007, that's when that was, in August. And in November, we bought the condo in Phoenix.
Okay. So at what point did you stop explaining your decisions to people who didn't understand your journey? Because you talked about sharing. Once you have the plan, don't share as you're planning. But once you have the plan and you're ready to execute it, and you have that circle that is trustworthy enough for you to share the plan. So at what point did you stop explaining your decision to people who didn't understand your journey?
Almost immediately. Yeah. But then I knew who I could share with.
Right.
Because you can't tell it to everybody.
No,
because
you can't.
I didn't want it, getting back to him.
Right. And then you also don't, not to cut you off, you also kind of don't want those in your ear who would just stay to stay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because no one knows what you go through.
Exactly.
No one. I always thought, once you close your door, your front door to your home, no one knows what's going on in your household but you.
Correct.
And that was one thing he always talked about. Well, let's not talk about anything that's going on in our home outside the home.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that when I was a kid.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, okay, we don't talk about. But then it was a point, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm talking.
You're like, I need to let this out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how has lived experience changed the way you make decisions today compared to earlier seasons of your life?
A lot of times I made decisions and I didn't give them a lot of thought. I didn't pray about them.
Mm-hmm.
I just did them.
Just spontaneous. Just
Spontaneous. That was me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do have to pull myself back even now.
Yeah.
Because if I think it, I'm like, I can do it.
Yeah.
And so I won't necessarily plan to make the right moves and do what I need to do beforehand on the front end.
Yeah.
And then when I get to the back end, I'm trying to put bandages and everything else on it.
Right.
Because I didn't plan.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to be a little bit more thoughtful in my direction and when I do those kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah. So your book is titled Finding My Peace in the Storm. So when did you realize peace was possible before the storm ended? Ooh, that's good right there. Ooh, listen, let me say that again. When did you realize that peace was possible before the storm ended? Because you have to see it before you see it.
Right. I knew peace was possible when I started to make my plan. I knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Did you find peace planning?
I found peace planning.
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
I did, because I knew this is going to come to an end soon.
Yes. Yeah.
It's going to be another this.
Yes.
Because with him, it was always something.
Yes.
But I knew it wasn't going to be this. I wasn't going to still be back here in this.
Yeah.
I was going to be more peaceful because I was going to be on my own.
Yeah.
And that is a miracle in itself.
So you found peace in planning. You found peace in knowing that once you were out of that, total peace, it
was going to be peace on a different level.
Yes. Yeah.
Because even though I got out of that back there, I knew going through the divorce was going to be a whole nother thing.
Correct.
But at least I was going to be on my own, making my own decisions, in charge of my life.
Right.
And that in itself was going to be peaceful because so many things I did not do because I didn't want to ruffle feathers.
Exactly.
Cause a problem.
You were trying to keep peace where peace didn't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah. Totally.
Exactly. I was.
Yeah. So I like that. I like that you found peace in planning. That you knew that you found peace in planning. You found peace in looking forward to the new.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was hopeful.
Right.
I knew that things were going to improve in my life.
Yeah.
And that's what I needed after the 33 years of living in that.
Oh, sis, that's a lot. So what does peace look like now compared to what you thought? Oh, what does it look like now compared to what you thought it was back then? So in the beginning, courting, dating, was there peace?
Yeah, there was.
So early in the marriage, there was peace. So let's do a comparison. That peace compared to what you thought the peace actually was, if that makes sense. So what does peace look like now compared to what you thought peace actually was back then, I guess?
So peace now is real peace, because back then there would be moments of peace where things seem to be going well. We may be on a trip somewhere and having a good time. That was peace.
Yeah.
But then there was always the point in time where you're still walking on eggshells because you don't know.
Is that peace?
No, that's not peace.
Okay.
That's not peace.
Right.
But then when you can get away, that's peace. So when I would take a trip.
I got you. Yeah.
That's peace.
Yeah.
Because I'm not there.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So while you were even though you guys were still together and you would take a trip, you found peace in the trip. Was the peace ever interrupted when you would think about, okay, this trip is about to come to an end. I got to go back home now. Was your peace disturbed? Was it interrupted?
Totally.
Okay.
Or just knowing that I was going to have to be back in the space,
Yes.
sharing
Yes.
space with him,
Yes.
and not knowing.
Yes.
And that was the thing.
Yeah.
It was always the not knowing. And
Yeah.
I would say to him after, he would start an argument, because it was always
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
was wrong.
Yeah.
Don't you just like having things peaceful?
Right. Right.
And there was no answer, because, of course, there's no answer to that, because
Right.
they like the turmoil,
the chaos.
the chaos.
Yeah. 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 For someone living who feels like they're in the middle of their own storm, Dr. T, what's the first step you'd encourage them to take?
I would say, because of my faith and knowing what it has done for me, you have to have a foundation based in God, whoever your God is.
I was just about to say, so for those who don't share our God, yeah,
Whoever your God is.
yeah,
Whatever your belief base is, you've got to go all in,
yeah,
because that's going to set the foundation for your ability to move forward.
and you also knew that it took a greater strength outside of yours.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
I couldn't do it on
Right,
my own.
right.
There is nothing, when I look back, I even write about it in this book. When I look back on my life, there is nothing that was luck
yeah,
for me, nothing. It was all the plan set for my life that I didn't even know was taking
right,
place.
right,
So there is something for each of our lives, but the end result is, it's not just for our life, but it's for the betterment of someone else's life.
yeah, yeah,
So the sun isn't going to just shine on us,
right,
but it shines on our friends, it shines on our family members, it shines on people we come in contact with.
yeah, totally.
But we're not going to get there if we're constantly in the turmoil. And that was another part of what peace is for me now.
yeah,
Because what I thought was peace, there's no comparison to how my life
yes,
is now.
yes, totally.
It changed
totally.
exponentially for the better.
Oh, I can only imagine. So for someone who is listening, who is in the middle of their own storm, basically Dr. Phelps Jackson is suggesting that you have a clear foundation of something outside of yourself that you're standing on, because truly listening to your story, I know that I would have to have something, some other giants, you know what I mean? Like just helping me, rooting me on daily in order for me to make some of the decisions. If I'm just being real, to make some of the decisions that you had to make from a marriage of 33 years. Is that correct? Marriage of 33 years. So why was it important for you to tell this story now?
It was cathartic. I needed it for my healing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, it wasn't just for me.
Correct.
I didn't go through all of that for just myself.
Correct.
I needed to have a story. And for some reason, God wanted me to do this as my story.
Yes.
So after I left, I thought, this is the story I have to tell. And even though it was uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
because there are things that I disclosed about the marriage, the things that I did in the marriage, where even before we got to the marriage, the red flags I blew past, just the things that I wasn't paying attention to.
Right.
And because I wanted to be married so bad. And I just, again, the potential played a part. It didn't. I just thought, this is going to work. So I had to take accountability for what I did.
For your part,
But I also had to look back and reflect, how did I get there?
Right, right.
So I had to tell the story.
Yeah.
Because nobody is perfect.
Correct.
And Lord knows, I lived a totally imperfect life because of the things that I went through along the way.
Yeah.
The people that I allowed myself to be around,
Right.
the things I did, not thinking for myself. And that was one of the things my mother always instilled in us.
Yeah.
If you don't use your brain to think for yourself,
Right.
someone's going to use it for you.
Yeah.
And so not paying attention to those kinds of things. So this book is a testament to you can make it. You got to just think about what you're going through. And someone told me, is this, when you're looking at it biblically, is this covenant or is this captivity?
Oh my. Oh. Now you trying to start a whole nother podcast with that with that right there. So what you're basically saying is it was important, very, very important for you to share your story now, because you have overcome. And not only that, you overlooked so many red flags, so many things that could have caused you to pause, but you continued on. And hopefully someone who is going to hear this or that is currently listening, that you would take heed to what Dr. Phelps Jackson is sharing. And not only that, to purchase her book, because we all have our, real talk again, we all have our own storms. None of them look the same. But this particular storm, I have heard a number of times, and so I do feel like now more than ever is a great time for you to share your story. And I'm so glad that you did share your story. It's an amazing story. It's a story, one that I don't feel like I could have, been the lead actress, I guess, because you were in one of the starring roles,
Absolutely.
So I don't know if I could have, and I say that, but again, I feel like we all have our assignments, and just like you said, this is your story. This is your testimony, and you had to go through this in order to have your testimony. So with that being said, Dr. Phelps, thank you for trusting us with your story.
Sure.
And what this conversation reminds us is that endurance has a purpose, but it also has a limit. Wisdom often shows up when we stop explaining our decisions to people who don't understand the journey we've walked. Peace isn't something we postpone until life becomes easier. It's something we choose, sometimes before answers arrive, and often before the storm ends. Finding my peace in the storm is more than a book title. It's permission. Permission to honor what you lived. Permission to honor what your lived experience has taught you, permission to trust God without knowing every outcome, and permission to choose peace now. To everyone listening who feels like they're still in the middle, you are not behind, you are not weak, and choosing peace does not mean you failed. Thank you for joining us on Catch the Vision. Until next time, keep moving forward.